So I decided to take you all along with me. After I had gotten some blood work done, I stayed in Battle Creek, Michigan and hit all my old stomping ground thrift stores. So I had a little bit more time. I was caught up on things that I needed to do, so I got to spend some time driving around to 6 thrift stores so I can show you what's on the shelves and what I brought home with me.
Since none of this is put out yet, let's take a look at this fresh cart. I don't really know much about these little angels at all. I like the little iridescence to them. And then we have this little caddy set, which was just super cute. But what spiked my interest was the wreath on the bottom, trying to see if I could remake it. It'd be very cute for fall, but I did notice that it has some water damage and that one of the sides is smashed. So the music is super loud in here today, so I'm just taking a look at the shelves. I'm not sure why this little hedgehog was battery operated. And then I couldn't figure out how you got a tea light into that owl terracotta lantern. But trying to take a step back, look to see what's on the bottom shelf. I did spy this lantern on the top, but the metal was super thin, so I was a little worried about that. I did notice this stained glass cross, but I wish it was like real stained glass where you could see through it. And I was on the fence about this. I know it definitely has some age, this canister. And I kind of wish now that I'm re-looking at it that I probably could have put a label on it and painted that lid. Would you have passed on this little truck, or would you brought this home to make over? I was on the fence, but now that I'm re-editing, I thought maybe that would have looked cute with some bottle brush trees in the back. Birds always catch my eye, so I spied this. I think it might be like a jewelry holder. I wasn't sure what the rounded part was for. And this little red compote dish caught my attention, but it's flash, and you can see that some of the paint is chipping off. One of my favorite places to find items to make over is the wooden section, but I'm not really seeing too awful much. I did kind of like the mirror, but I don't know how much and how often these little dresser mirrors sell. So I decided against that piece. And a lot of things I'm not really seeing the price tag right off the bat. I thought that was a funny little saying. So I used to resell these, and they used to sell really well, but I'm not sure if they still do or not. So I went ahead. Sometimes I have to be careful with canister sets because they take up a lot of room in my booth, and you just don't know if they're going to sell or not. But sometimes the best place to find some used terracotta pots is the thrift store. So you know these are coming home with me.
So at the first Goodwill, I did get for $4.29 for 3. Usually Goodwill has these priced individually, but for some reason this store had them all marked together, so that was awesome. So some aged terracotta, so I didn't pass those up.
So now I'm off to my next spot, which is the Salvation Army. As I make my way back to their home decor section, they start right off with a lot of the holidays. So they have Christmas and Halloween all set out. So I am looking, and Easter. There's plenty of holidays all together here. So I am going to take a look, because you just never know. Even though it's not in season, you might find some goodies. Sometimes I just have to touch and feel an item to see, am I inspired to make it over? And then this bedazzled deer at the top shelf just caught my eye. I'm like, would anybody want him, love him? I have a quilted deer that I thought was amazing, and he's still in my booth. These little wall pockets, but I wish they didn't have a face on them and that they were just sunflowers.
I'll just scan over, seeing if there's any figures, seeing just what catches my eye. Of course, the owl caught my eye, and he feels like he has some age to it. I turn around and he is chalkware, but I don't really care for the paint job, and then it looked like it should have had some florals. And what are these? I've seen these in antique stores, but I don't really know much about those. Never going to pass up a chance to look at the artificial flowers. Look at those hydrangeas. Oh my gosh, beautiful. But they want like $3.99 for the bunch, which isn't terrible by any means. The color of these ones, but they're attached to the container. I saw a thumbnail once that said that ginger jars are a thing and they're a hot seller, but I know nothing about ginger jars at all. They look like urns to me sometimes. I can't believe what I just spied on the shelf for $3.99. Talk about Grandma Core here. Hard candies that are probably a solid mass, and for $3.99 they could be yours at the Salvation Army. Probably couldn't get them out of the jar to throw them away. I would just throw the whole jar away. But I love those little sunflower napkin rings, but I don't really sell napkin rings, but I do like, you always have to check out a baggie and see what's inside. Now, I've brought ironstone pieces from this Salvation Army before, so I will dig a little bit to look. And I know this little piece has some age on it. I feel like it should have been a set, but she is super cute sitting there. A name for these vintage hard plastic pieces. If they're in good condition, I will, and they're cheap enough, I will pick them up to resell. I thought this one definitely had that mid-century modern vibe. And then I found these three, which we're in a lake community, people who decorate lake. Unfortunately, 2 of them were broken and only one was in good shape, and eBay says that they sell. So I spy some chickens I have to take a look at in this artwork. Though there's a whole bunch of them, so I'm thinking that maybe like new purchase goods or somebody had done a collage of a whole bunch of chickens. But I do like this chicken up here, this folk art hen. I would paint that frame black though. On to my favorite section, which is the wood section. The section that I usually can find things to flip and make over and sell. So I'm really studying the shelves. It's funny, one time I was stocking my booth and not the Lazy Susan. I had a gentleman was looking for one of these. I'm like, yeah, what's the chances of picking them up and somebody really looking for a knife holder? But I liked the sheep on this one. But I just left that one behind. This is a cute rooster, but it was really light wood. And I feel like these wooden bowls are vintage. They're a little bit worse for wear, but Howard's Restore could fix that, but they were missing the spade. So, yeah, I like that it's nice and full, that I had to dig around to see if there was any treasures in this all. And this is super cute, but I didn't know. I think it's cute. The shape's kind of oddity, but would it resell? It's cute to look at, but is somebody going to buy it? By this mailbox, and I would flip this for decor, but I don't like that it has that inner, like it should have had a lock where you can lock it, so I did leave that one behind. I know you could flip it up and still stick florals and stuff in it, but either you're feeling it or you're not feeling it. I had a lot of thrift grit today. And I love the shape of this clock, but battery operated, and once you touch it, it's plastic, it's not wood. Move on to the basket area to see if I spy anything, and right away, the basket shape that I have been looking for to put decor on my front door. This one is amazing, especially that it has that galvanized in the inside. I really like the heaviness and like the vintage vibe that it's got going on. And I ended up spending $18. So I did get this basket, especially it's got that liner in it. If you just recently saw my front porch, when I did that little makeover of that galvanized when I was thrifting at an antique store, I'm like, this I probably would have traded, but I already painted it and I like the way it looks. So I love that wood feature, the heaviness of it all. Oh my gosh. And I love that it has a liner. So I'm sure it was made so you could have fresh flowers, but this was $3.99. I picked up a wooden, so people actually collect these old mirrors. So this one was $2.99, so I did pick that up. I'm trying not trying to show it to you, but you get to see all my decor while we're doing it. So, and it is in great shape, and it's nice, heavy, and thick. I did get those flowers. They kind of let me pick out what I didn't want, so they were fine with that. So this is what I got. And then for $2.99, I picked up this little folk art hen, though I will paint the frame black, and I think it makes it a little bit more universal, and it'll sell a little bit better if I have it black. And that one was $2.99. And then I had this piece, and you saw the other two were broken. I wanted all three of them. I have never run across for $3.99 one of these heavy, I don't know, what is the material called? I just always call it heavy plastic. But when I popped up on eBay, they were selling. So I'm like, okay, well, I grabbed all three, and then when I had them in my car, I kind of was like, oh, a couple of them are broken, shoot. And then I did pick up this one for $2.99. This one's definitely a little bit more mid-century modern, got those colors going on. So we'll see how those sell. Now I went on down the road to Legacy Thrift, which was Bibles for Mission, which was Community Thrift, and now that's the name. Spied this tiled tray right off the bat, but unfortunately a couple of the tiles were broken. This basket full of hydrangeas is gorgeous, but they want $25 for the whole thing, which if you bought them new at Hobby Lobby, it would be a lot more than that, but I don't know. I'm thrifting. I'm looking for a little bit better deal than that, but they are gorgeous. I spied this candle set, and they have them all priced separately, so I guess you could buy them separately. $34. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I like the detail on them, and then their resin. I'm kind of in like the sections where they do consider something vintage, antique. So they do a lot of price comparisons on eBay, so you're not usually going to get anything antique at a good deal. I thought those two little piggies were super cute. This vase, I was surprised when I'm like, oh, that's new. But yeah, here's the little section. You can see that they have what they consider old and antique and vintage. I skim over it just to see if there's anything that might be priced a little bit differently. I thought these canisters were gorgeous. I know nothing about them, and I didn't really research them at $30 a piece. And I know nothing about this. Looks like a plunger. And what is that? I've seen them at auctions before, but I really don't have any idea what they are for. So give me a comment if you know. And then, is this a fire extinguisher? I wasn't sure what this piece was either. This cute little cottage core country cow. He's very sweet. These are very well made oak bar stools that swivel. I don't think $20 for each of them is bad at all. They're selling these old wooden coat hangers, $1 for the stack, and I liked that darker color. That's kind of interesting. Come back here because yes, I've got an Ironstone and Pyrex for a good deal when they're single pieces here. If you're a Steelers fan, you can have a salt and pepper shaker. There's advertising and everything. But then all of a sudden I spy this canister set, and I have redone a canister set like that, and it is sold, so I'm considering this one. Yes, I am weak. I am very weak. A terracotta pot, though this one doesn't have any age, but it's only $1. And then I'm like, oh, look there's another one. But once I got into it, no, it's just a painted ceramic pot. It wasn't terracotta. That fooled me. Wood section, I do take a look-see, but I usually never find much in their wood section for some reason that I can flip. But, you know, you got to take a moment to look because you never know what treasures are going to be hidden. Looking to see if there's any vintage cookie cutters, but there was not. All these fondue set of pokers, and they have like numbers on them like dice. But when I looked them up, they were asking the same price as eBay. And then the same with this little thermometer, same price on eBay. Know that these Dutch ovens sometimes can resell. This is a Pioneer Woman. It has been well loved and there's lots of chips going on, so I left it behind. And I had just ordered a couple resources off Amazon and they weren't just $1. Darn it all, I wish I would have waited a day. If I would have thought this rocking chair would have sold in my booth, I would have picked it up. It was only $10. That green is everything. So then I went down the road. It's nice, they're all kind of like the thrift stores are all kind of right in the general area. Another terracotta pot, which it used to be like called the community thrift. It used to be Bibles for Missions, and now it's legendary thrift. So terracotta pot, it was $1. They priced each one of these candlesticks separately at $3 a piece, but they're heavy resin. But they have beautiful detail that will distress nice and really pop that detail. And then I did get that canister set. Now, if my other canister set that I painted over for y'all earlier in another video wouldn't have already sold, I probably would have left them behind because, as I said, canister sets take a lot of space in your booth and for them not to sell. So I thought, okay, it's sold, I'll go ahead and I'll pick them up. And that's when I decided, like, oh, thrift regret, I should have bought that big heavy one at the first Goodwill I went into. I was kind of like bombarded that there were so many people when the store first opened and they were kind of rude. They were like, we're afraid you were going to get something that they weren't. So I shouldn't say that, but it was. So I'm like, okay. So that just put me in a different mindset, and I wasn't thinking the way that I wanted to think. So thrift regret, but luckily I always have more doctor's appointments there. So if it's meant to be, it'll be there. I think I spent like 14, I don't know. I don't remember. So 4, 9, 13, 14. Yeah, 14. I counted right. In my car, I went a little bit farther to yet again another Goodwill. So taking a gander in their picture frame aisle, which is loaded. I like to look for galvanized that I can paint. This artwork, I don't know much about artwork. I like the frame. And sometimes you think, oh, this looks old, but it's new to look old. And then let's look at the baskets, see if there's anything in the baskets, kind of some wood pieces mixed in here. I see some trays that could be a possibility for some makeovers. You just never know. And I have to think in my thought right away when I'm doing that, so not to get to such a hoard, do I have any items that I could use on it automatically? I do buy and resell brass, but I usually get more of the patina older brass pieces, though these candle holders were very nice. I do spy a hen in the nest, but it is clear, and then it's comb. It should have all been painted, and it's clear, so it's nothing terribly special. So I had to check out the zebra because I have a fondness of animals, but it is definitely worse for wear paper mache. Don't worry, I didn't miss the terracotta on the bottom shelf, though the terracotta fooled me because it is painted on the outside, and I just want it to be terracotta all around. See this aged piece of wood, and I'm like, oh, it's got nails on it. Oh, it's some kind of a musical instrument, I think. Kind of neat. And then I saw the bronze kitty and looked him up, but he wasn't really worth very much. But what caught my attention was this little lucite vintage ghost holding a newspaper and a little briefcase, though he doesn't sell for too much, but we are going into Halloween. I recently sell some asparagus ware, but it was vintage, and this is a newer piece. Holy pencil sharpeners. Somebody turned in their whole collection. Oh, don't worry, it's more than one shelf. There's this shelf, and then there's a top shelf of it. So $5.29, which to me would seem like it's retail price for them, because I know that Chris has picked these up in the past and they just sit in the booth. But as I was going by, a gentleman was buying them all and trying to get a good deal for them. I do spy those 2 wooden candle holders, so I'm going to have to take a peek on that because I love painting candle holders, and they sell well when I put those coasters on the top. $6.29 though, gosh darn it. So $6.29 a piece. So lots of stuff on the shelves. This fairy was very cute, sun faded, and I probably would have done something with her, but I didn't. It's solar operated, so I didn't want to have to deal with that. And as you see, they had some brokenness. Definitely a lot of neat pieces in here today. I thought this was very cute. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to like have a tea light in it or if it's just a shelf sitter. So that piece was cute, but then I got distracted by a hummingbird because I have a thing for hummingbirds. And I was surprised that this carved piece was still intact. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take it out of the little flower, but it was all good. And I love little spotted kitties. And then these are actually whistles, but they really, I couldn't find that they even sold on eBay, so I decided to leave those behind though. And $2.29 they sell for like $9, but it may not have been worth my time. Somebody must have just turned in their collection of little tiny birdhouses. Are these not too sweet? So then I hit another Goodwill because I needed to go get some hair products. So there's a, because, you know, I was a hairdresser, so there's a professional hair dealer supplier that is right on the corner next to a Goodwill. So at this Goodwill, I spent $46. So I got this little old riser. I loved the feet are what got me, these little feet, and it definitely has some age to it. So anything, I don't know what it is, like even a cloche on here, and it's not flat, but for $4.29, I'm like, okay, I like wood features. I think people like the old wood, so you just leave it as is. I passed up the wooden candlesticks at first, and then my next swipe, because I'm like $6.29, but they do resell, and they're a nice, just classic shape, and they're a matching pair, so I did end up getting both of them, because I never know when I'm going to find another pair of candlesticks. So then I did get that hummingbird. I could not believe his little was intact. I just thought it was such a unique piece. Oh, I just hand carved. How delicate. So what is this? What is this, walnut? Since it's dark, is it? I think it's walnut, carved in walnut. I did buy that lucite for $4.29. He didn't resell on eBay for very much, but I kind of had, you know, we're going into the Halloween time, and so I'll probably just try to sell him for a little bit more in my booth to see, because he is so adorable. He's definitely got some age, you know, when it comes to the paper mache pumpkins and all that. I just, he's awesome. And I really don't know much about lucite, but I thought he was too cute to pass up. I did for a couple bucks. They had a whole bunch of littles, a little cat with the heart, and then they had this little black sheep, and he was actually half off because he was a blue tag, half off of $2.29. That's the cheapest that they go, is $2.29. And I did pick out a whole bunch of the little bird houses. Just great if you know, sit on a windowsill, or you do plants, or you're a birdhouse lover. And then at the $2.29 price, I'd probably have to, you know, I'd like to double, so I'd put a $5 price tag on them. So I really was kind of picky, like the metal, the stars, nothing that I would want to paint over, because there's not a ton of reselling that. And then as a project piece, I did pick up this little tray. I had an idea because I just got a new stencil that I fell in love with for $4.29. Nope, there's not 3 Goodwills in that town. This is a neighboring town in Marshall, Michigan. I'm headed my way back home now, so I thought, of course, I have to pop in. And this little, that kitty looked like Tater, and it's a nesting box set. This store is packed right now, so kind of weaving through people, looking to see what's on the shelves, buy these cute little terracotta. $1.29, I thought they didn't do anything lower than $2.29, but every Goodwill's ran differently. Oh my goodness. And there's another piece of lucite, but I don't know about the seeds though, and maybe it would be something. Did put this in my cart for a little while. This is a little plant stand, but the more that I looked at it, I think that it should have had another piece on the seat, and you get too heavy of a plant, I think it would have kind of been the metal. It's not very thick metal. How funny is this little saying on this fish sign? Sometimes you just need that smile. And the shelves are packed. There's lots of goodies on the shelves, so kind of have to really dig in, which is the way I like it. I wish there was more than one of these little hummingbirds, because I really like that hummingbird. It's that heavy plastic again. But I'm really not seeing too much in the figures right now. There's some baskets down here. I didn't really see too much in here, and I thought that was going to be, it's a really light wood. And we have another cheese box. But since my other ones haven't sold yet, I'm not going to be a hoarder. I'm not going to be a hoarder. Hoarders Anonymous. Until the other ones sell, I know I can always find these. People have really been cleaning out their terracotta, though that big one is amazing. So there is one small one in here for $4.25, and then actually the ones inside are plastic, and then $20.29. I'm going to pass on that one. These shutters are cute, but I have a hard time just selling just a pair of shutters, even when they're vintage. So even though I like the green and they were Hobby Lobby pieces, I left them behind. We have a piece of yard art, which is the sunflower for $7.29. Somebody had bedazzled, put some, and I think they will probably just pop off. And I'm trying to decide if I can paint it into my colors. Funny, at the $5.29 on the swan, I looked up on eBay and they don't really sell for very much, for $5.29, and I see a lot of people on Instagram styling them up in their bathrooms and places. This elephant is definitely vintage. He is amazing, but I just didn't know. I couldn't find anything on him. I'm sure it's probably a hobbyist piece, but a well done hobbyist piece, and I'll probably, another thrift regret, I'll probably regret not picking it up. Look, it had a little butterfly. I didn't know if that was a bug, but it's a butterfly. I did leave it behind. I just didn't know. I love the fabric of these old soup cases. This is probably a little makeup case. So super cute and well conditioned. Now, if it was the green or the brown or the darker in color, I definitely would have picked it up. They don't resell very fast. They're great for styling and adding height to pieces. So I did leave this one behind. I spent $10 at the last Goodwill store. I did pick up those little terracotta pumpkins because those are super sweet, and this Goodwill priced them at $1.29. I didn't think they were supposed to go under the $2.29 price anymore, but I'm not questioning it. And then there we go, too many terracotta pots right now. So for $4.29 I did pick up the terracotta. Now, so I talked myself out of the sunflower because it had a bobbly going on it. I know, I probably should have got it, but then I'm like, I don't know, you know. So either you know or you know. And then I love the large terracotta, but I'm like, $20. I don't know. If I need a large one, which doesn't display in my little cubbies, I didn't really have a purpose. I like the smaller in size, but the $20 one was amazing. I do have a couple little bonuses to share with you. I stopped at an antique mall, an antique store, but her store is really dark, like almost black, and you really have to focus in, and the prices are so the filming would have been terrible. You would not have been able to see anything, but I did pick up some mushrooms that I thought I could double and make my profit on. They were $11. Beautiful. They're just like a foam board, so they're very vintage. And then I got this mushroom canister. It does have a few there was a chip here, and then another little chip there. Yeah, so it was priced to sell because it was chipped. And then I picked up these little guys for $8. These, so I think they're terracotta, and they're aged, chippy. Y'all, they're gorgeous. And they were priced very reasonable. And then I got a couple little, because, you know, I was on a mushroom kick. So a little wooden mushroom, and then a couple little Rusty Crusties, because I can't have enough Rusty Crusties. A little rooster, and then one lonely little star. So, whew. So even though I had to go multiple places, so 1, 2, 3, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So what did I hit? 7 stores? But 3 Goodwills, a community thrift, Salvation Army, and an antique store. So I hit 6 stores, and I think I came home with a pretty good haul. It took me all day to go through these places, but I mean, that's just what you do as a reseller. When I'm sitting there at an auction that starts at 9 in the morning, 10, usually 10. I'd love them to start at 9. We're usually there to 2, 3 o'clock. So yeah, so I mean, I'm glad that I found some treasures. This was my old stomping ground. I used to fill my car, but that doesn't happen anymore. And maybe my tastes have just changed, and I'm kind of figuring out what sells in my 4-year path of doing this, what sells and what isn't selling. You know, you just kind of change that way. So that was fun. Thanks for coming along with me. I'm pretty sure this is probably a weekly thing of hitting up these stores if I have time to spend the day doing that. So thanks again for watching. Let me know down in the comments which item I found when I was out and about, and how are your thrift stores? Do you have a whole bunch in a general area? Because really, I was in the same town, so that was really nice. So again, thanks for watching today's video, and always, if you're part of our YouTube family, thank you so much. And if you're not part of our YouTube family and you want to become part of our YouTube family, smash that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys, and you can see what we're up to. Bye!